Teresa Cross, and I am a banquet server at the Hyatt Regency with Unite Here Local 23 here in Atlanta. I am here to tell my story. During COVID-19, I was laid off and left to provide for my 16-year-old son. My son is in his final year in high school and would like to attend college next fall. How am I supposed to afford to send him to college if I'm already struggling to pay my bills? My checks stopped coming in, but my bills did not. I now rely on food stamps to put food on the table. Soon we will receive a $600 stimulus check. That won't even cover my mortgage. On top of that, I stand to lose my health insurance coverage in just 2 days. I am a 1-year breast cancer survivor in need of regular checkups and treatments in order to survive. Health insurance coverage during a pandemic is a matter of life or death. We want to live. I am here today because hospitality workers are suffering and we need relief. Many of you here today have similar stories to mine. We've been laid off, cut from health insurance, left to rely on unemployment and food banks, waiting for a stimulus that is too little too late. But that hasn't stopped us. Congress, it's time for you to step up and give us relief. I will continue to fight. We will continue to fight until we have a seat at the table and Congress treats us with dignity and respect. I want everyone in Washington to remember, unite here as a fighting union and know that we are not giving up. We are pushing for more. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you hear me? All right. So, exactly what Teresa just said. We want to have a say in our city. We want to have a say in our country. We want to have a say in Georgia. And the way to do it is by voting. Get out the vote. So, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Nadia Taylor. I'm the senior organizer here with Unite Here in Atlanta. And welcome. Hold that horn. Horn. Hey, listen. Our hospitality members, they're hurting, guys. They're hurting. A lot of our members can't pay their bills. Some of them don't know when and where the next meal is coming from. We have members who are living in hotels. We have members who are living on the street. Why? Because we don't have nobody speaking for us in the Senate. Personally, I don't think our senators now give a damn about what we're going through. Do you think they care? No, they don't. But guess what? What I love about my union is that we don't give up and we don't quit. We fight, and we're going to fight to the end. And we're going to take back the Senate just like we took back the White House. So, the best way we could do that is by making sure we put the right people in office. We need to get somebody that's going to speak for us. Somebody that's going to give a damn about us. Somebody that's going to care where your next meal is coming from. Somebody that's going to care if you live on the street or if you live in a hotel. We need someone to have a voice for us. And that's why we're here. So the man that's about to come out and speak, I want to tell you a little about him. Reverend Raphael Warnock. That's right, blow your horn and let him know you know he's here. Woo! So, just a little bit about him. He was raised in Savannah, Georgia, in public housing. He has 11 brothers and sisters, so you know he's a fighter because he got to get through. 11 brothers and sisters, that's who made him who he is now. His father was a preacher, and his mother spent the summers down in Waycrossing picking cotton and tobacco to make sure we have him here today. Many years ago, Reverend Warnock was chosen to lead as a senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church here in Atlanta, Georgia. This man understands us. This man listens to us. This man understands what hard work means because he had to grow up with 11 brothers and sisters while his mother was picking cotton to make sure she takes care of her family. This man will represent us in Washington. This man will have a voice for us. We haven't been heard in a long time, people. This is the time that we vote to get somebody in there who's going to fight for quality, affordable health care for all workers. That's right. And he will make sure that our voice is heard. So I would like to bring on stage our next senator, Reverend Raphael Warnock. Hold your horn!
Hello, everybody. Wow. Y'all sound like you're ready to win an election. Thank you so very much. I want to thank my sister for her kind and gracious introduction. It's wonderful to be here with you in this deciding moment, this defining moment in the history of our country. And we know that labor always makes the difference. So I want to thank you all so much for being here. Look what a vast gathering of folks who are committed to the struggle. Georgia, they didn't see you coming on November 3rd. But we want to say to the rest of the country, welcome to the blue Georgia, welcome to the new Georgia. Are y'all ready to win this election? They didn't see you coming on November 3rd. But come January 5th, we're going to seal the deal. Are you ready to send my brother from another mother, John Ossoff, and Raphael Warnock to the United States Senate? So let me say that workers are at the center of our movement. And I'm deeply honored by all of the support that we have from labor. I want to thank Charlie Fleming, the president of the Georgia AFL-CIO. Come on, let's hear it for Charlie Fleming. I want to thank James James Williams of the Atlanta Council of the North Georgia Labor. He's president of the IBEW. Let's hear it for James Williams. Let's hear it for Gwen Millis, the Union Secretary Treasurer. Let's hear it for Nadia Taylor. I am so grateful to all of them. I'm grateful for all of the members of the Atlanta City Council who have come out to express their solidarity with you in this work. And I want you to know that I understand that workers are the ones who make our country a great country. I grew up in public housing. My dad was a veteran. Any veterans out there? Let's hear it for the veterans. He was a preacher and he was a businessman. And my dad would wake me up every morning, 6 o'clock, 7 days a week. During the school year and during the summer, I was one of 12 in my family. But he would wake me up and he would say, "Son, get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready." And, you know, my dad was old school. He was born in 1917. He was an older father, and he felt like you just get up in the morning. You don't mess around because you got work to do. And he drilled that into me. To this day, I don't need an alarm clock. Responsibility wakes me up every morning. He just felt like you ought to have a serious work ethic. And he poured that into me. And it was a little bit irritating, you know, when you're 10 years old, 12 years old, waking me up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday. I said, "Dad, get ready for what? What do you want me to do?" He said, "I don't know, I'll figure that out later. Just be ready." The first point is just to be ready. And I can see him now, my dad of blessed memory, because he was an older father, and by the time I was a teenager, he was already a senior. But I'm telling you, that man could outrun every last one of his children in his work boots. He was made out of that special stuff. And it was a little bit irritating when I was growing up, but right now, I'm glad that my dad woke me up every morning, because in this defining moment in American history, I want you to know I'm ready. I'm ready to be your next United States Senator. Are you ready to win this election? My dad believed in the dignity of hard work and in the dignity of workers. He used to come home, Councilman Dickens, and he had been out all day picking up old junk cars, loading them on the back of a rig. Somewhere in his life he learned how to weld. And he would literally create this contraption on the back of a truck that enabled him to take cars and pull them up one by one on top of the truck, sometimes stacking a few of them at a time, and then he'd take them down to Chatham Steel. And that's how he took care of his family. I remember it because it was hard work. It was greasy. It was dirty. And when he would come home, his hands would be so dirty that my mom had to use laundry detergent to wash his hands. She needed some special stuff. And the thing that was amazing to me is that although it was hard work, he loved it. He didn't mind working hard. And it was because although the work was hard, it was his own. He felt a sense of dignity. It belonged to him. And here's what I know about workers. Workers don't mind working hard as long as they're not disconnected from the product that they're creating. I get so sick and tired of folk. I don't know about you, but I get sick and tired of folk who live with a kind of privilege, always moralizing about work and workers. My experience is that people don't mind working hard. They just don't want to be disconnected from the product. And too often, workers don't share enough in the prosperity that they are creating for others. They make other folk rich. They make other folk rich and they can barely afford the rent. And that's wrong. And so workers don't mind working hard. But too often in our country, people are alienated from their work. When we play with workers, we create something that is unjust. We create something that is distorted. We create something that is evil. We create something that is sinful when we play with workers. When they work full time, but they don't get the credit for being a full-time worker. When we call them essential workers, but we won't give them essential pay. Right? I mean, that's one of the lessons of this pandemic. One of the lessons of this pandemic is that the very folk that we've been ignoring and making invisible. I mean, how long have we been in this fight? For 15. And there's all of this pushback and all of this lying and rationalizing that doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden we get hit by a pandemic, and the very folk that we have been diminishing, whose humanity we have been ignoring, we all of a sudden call them essential workers. The folk that other folk don't see because they are stocking grocery store shelves late at night. They're keeping the economy humming. They're the communications workers. They're the electricians. They're the painters. They're the carpenters. They're the folk who clean the streets. They are the folk who work in our healthcare system, and not all of them are doctors and nurses. They're the folk who keep the hospital clean and who keep the hospital humming. And if they get sick, they can't afford to be in the very hospital bed that they prepare. Can I tell you, as a preacher, I think that's sinful. And if you send me to the United States Senate, I will remind the Senate every day that taking care of workers is a moral issue. So my dad was a hard worker. I mean, he liked working hard, and he didn't mind because it was his own. And I think that even if you work for the company, there's a sense in which you ought to be able to share in what you produce. But what's happened in our country is that we don't celebrate the folk who make things. We say in church, can I say that again? We don't celebrate the people who make things. We celebrate the people who make money, often by playing with money. Right? That's what Kelly Loeffler does. That's what David Perdue does. They are experts with playing with other people's money. David Perdue made himself wealthy, downsizing companies and laying off workers and streamlining. They got all of these words, right? And outsourcing. And then these CEOs, they leave and they get a parachute for destroying the company and leaving workers high and dry. During the Great Recession, Kelly Loeffler spent her time literally teaching the banks how to hide their assets in the Cayman Islands so they wouldn't have to pay taxes in the United States. What was I doing during the Great Recession? During the Great Recession, my church, under my leadership, was building a community center. And in that community center, we were housing a financial literacy center, teaching folk how to improve their credit so we could create a 700 credit score community, teaching renters how to become homeowners, and teaching folk who had an entrepreneurial vision how to start a business. You can tell what somebody will do once they're in office based on what they were doing before they were in office. And so I promise you that if you send me to the United States Senate, if you tell all of your friends to vote, if you tell all of your family members to vote, when I go to the United States Senate, I'll be thinking about the folk who make America great. Workers make America great. What I like about our country, what I love about our country, is that we always have a path to make America greater. My mother was also a hard worker. Thankfully, she was not picking cotton while I was growing up, but as a teenager in the 1950s, growing up in Waycross, Georgia, like a lot of black teenagers, she was picking somebody else's cotton, somebody else's tobacco. But she was able to take care of her children. I became the first college graduate in my family, thanks to Pell Grants and low-interest student loans, good federal public policy. And I'm running because I want to make sure that other children have that promise and that possibility. But because this is America, last week, the 82-year-old hands that used to pick somebody else's cotton went to the polls and picked her youngest son to be the next United States Senator from the great state of Georgia. And so let's continue that arc. Let's continue to do the hard work. Like my daddy, I don't mind working hard because I know who I'm working for. And I know what the mission is all about. And I was running before I was running. I wasn't running for an office, I was running for truth. I was running for justice. I was running for righteousness. I was running for a livable wage. I was running for health care. And so, when Georgia refused to expand Medicaid in this state, I went to the governor's office. And I said, Mr. Governor, you have to expand Medicaid. After all, we're paying for it. It's not your money, it's our money. Why would you leave hundreds of thousands of Georgians in the Medicaid gap? And we were having a sit-in the governor's office, and I was holding a placard with a quote from Dr. King that said, "Of all the injustices, inequality in healthcare is the most shocking and the most inhumane." And the Capitol Police showed up, and they said, "You have to clear the governor's office." And I wasn't mad at the Capitol Police. I was expecting them to come. They were there doing their job, and I was there doing my job. And they carted us off to jail that day. And then in 2017, when the Congress was passing a $2 trillion tax giveaway to the richest of the rich, while taking money from the children's health care program and the poorest of the poor, I went to the United States Capitol. And because I had not been elected a United States Senator yet, I could not make my argument on the floor of the Senate. I had to make my argument in the rotunda of the Capitol. And we began to say that a budget is not just a fiscal document, it is a moral document. Show me a nation's budget and I will show you your values. Show me your budget. Show me your budget and I will know who you think matters and who does not matter. And the Capitol Police showed up again. I wasn't mad at them. They were there doing their job. And I was there doing my job. And they said, "We're going to give you 3 warnings, after which we will have to arrest you." And so, I stand in the pulpit where Dr. King preached. And so we stood there. They carted us away. Again, I wasn't mad at them. Matter of fact, in a few more weeks, I look forward to running into them again. But this time, they will not be taking me to central booking. Maybe they can help me find my new office as the next United States Senator from the great state of Georgia. Are you ready? I'm tired of people playing with ordinary people, with working people, with struggling families. You've been waiting for months for COVID relief, and finally the Congress had to be shamed into doing just a little bit. You need a senator who does not have to be shamed into doing the right thing, who will do the right thing just because it's right. And so as I close, and I know nobody believes a Baptist preacher when he says, "As I close." Oh, I see y'all been to a Baptist church. They say Rev got 3 more closes and then he's done. But as I close, I'm thinking about my father. Thinking about my mother, God bless her. She's 82 years old and she's the bright star, a living example of what faith will do. She's pushing her son on like a mama does. And I'm thinking about my 2 darling children, 4-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son. And I know that my children will not be okay until other people's children are okay. Because we're tied in a single garment of destiny. And as I'm standing on this stage with all of you in this great movement, in this incredible moment in American history, I'm thinking about my dad, who was once asked to give up his seat and move to the back of the bus in order to give his seat to a young white teenager while he was wearing his military uniform. But my dad never gave up on America. And I'm not about to give up on America. I'm going to stand up for this country. I'm going to stand up for the ideals and values of democracy and truth and equal protection under the law. And I hear him in those days gone by, waking me up early in the morning. Get up. Get dressed. Put your shoes on. Get ready. He'd wake me up at dawn, and the thing about dawn is that it's morning, but it's still dark. It's dark, but morning is already present, and if you hang on just a little while, the sun will come up. The scripture tells us that weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning. I know it's hard, I know it's dark, I know that wages are low and bills are high, but hold on. Don't give up on America. Don't give up on Georgia. Don't give up on yourself, because help is on the way. It's morning time. Are you ready to win this election? Well, get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready for affordable health care, get ready for a livable wage, get ready to reclaim this democracy because it belongs to the people. Get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready, let's win this election.